Microbiology showed yes, that it was a bacterial infection. Sepsis is usually caused by gram-positive bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria like Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Klebsiella, Escherichia coli. So it was Streptococcus. It proved that it was gram-positive because sepsis, some gram-negatives can, but most times it's gram-positive and they give rise to toxins in the body. Endotoxins. So now. Why the sepsis said with that pus, when you have a pus in any part of the body, whether it's with diabetic sore that there's a pus, or whether it's from a whitlow or whatever, the idea is you drain the pus, you incise, you drain. One thing, when you say crowding in an autopsy room, it's actually allowed all over the world when you have contentious cases like this. And mind you, an autopsy had been done before. So we were doing a second autopsy. So this time around, to have a balance, the team of pathologists were from different teaching hospitals across Nigeria. Males and females were 2 females and the rest were males. And so everybody was there from start to finish. Video recordings were done, it's available. Camera, the pictures were taken from start to finish. Even when the lights blinked, we're taking photographs. My camera snaps in the darkness. So even if the light went up, we just continued till it came on. Nobody stepped out from start to finish. We started at about 4:30. We were done at about 9. Now, it's a big autopsy room, so it's not a crowded room. You know, when you say it's almost like a hut. No. It was in Lasut, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, morgue, Ikeja, Lagos. And it is a center of forensic pathology. Several other cases have been handled there, and some other centers. So this is not the first one. So when these things come, it's expected that many will put their heads together. Some autopsy cases, 2 pathologists come together. Some 3. Some 1. It's straightforward. So when we have second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, so in this case, we're having like 10th opinion. Because the first person did it, and then we have pathologists, and we have, amongst us, we have 2 pathologists in training.
Okay, let me just, since there was no fracture, where did sepsis come from?
Good. So I'm just going to be quick so that people will get to know. Pathology, ideally, I would say that ideally, pathologists should work without sentiments, should work without emotions, should work without inclinations, should work without affiliations, should work without bias.
Yes.
Whatever you are foretold, or you foreknew, or you're dreaming about, or you hear, or rumors, myths, legends, set them aside. Do your work. It doesn't matter where it's your relative. Say it the way it is. So it's on soul and conscience. When you look at the report, you see on soul and conscience, we perform this postmortem. Everybody's answerable to God at the last day. Yes. Nobody's a God. God remains God. So shall we say that? So now, for that autopsy, I'm going to do a summary so that we'll know a picture quickly. Now, sepsis is a blood infection. You will ask, what came about? How did it come about? History, past medical history, past social history, his pediatric history, his milestones, his reproductive history, his drug history, social history, we had none. All we had was, this is a body, an autopsy had been done before. The brief medical report that came was, this is a body, autopsy had been done before in so place, but this is the body of a patient who sustained injuries from a football match. That was all. There was no past medical history. So, but we'll get such cases. Now, for that sepsis, what we saw was, there was, for his body externally, there were some shallow cuts and bruises, just shallow cuts and bruises on the forehead. Then there were bruises on his lips. Now, on his right ankle, there was a darkened, kind of wrinkled area looking like a bruise. Sometimes post-mortem, that's after death. You can have wrinkling of skin as part of the post-mortem changes, part of decomposition, depending on how the body was preserved, either through embalming or refrigeration or both. Now, so when you see that, you're not going to assume. So what we did, we incised. So we opened it. And when we opened it, we saw discolorations. We saw some reddening, what we call hyperemia. Some areas were congested. Okay. Then we saw a collection that looked creamy white.
Okay.
So when you see that, of course, we say, oh, this is pus. But we still said pus-like. Because, oh, yes, it's pus. Whatever you need to smell it, you need to test it. So we took specimen, took it to, sent it to the microbiology department. That's another division of labor.
Yeah.
It's not us. They did the test. So if you want to corroborate, go to them.
Yeah.
Then we also took specimen from the tissue there, the muscle, the ligament, just took specimen from there. And remember that we opened the whole body.
Yeah.
So we took specimen from the brain, we took specimen from the liver, from the kidneys, from both
So we're
lungs,
told that
from
his lungs had issues, but the organs around his rib cage and his lung was all intact. Is that correct?
On going in, what we were able to see was, one, the lung looked, at the time we brought it, because we'll bring it out, not just looking, we'll bring it out. The lungs looked whitish. There's a way the lungs look. The lungs look reddish brown. And in adults, you have some dots that are black. We call anthracotic patches. They are carbon deposition. Dot, black dot. Those are
Did he
carbon.
have it?
No, because it's a young child. So it was just a little part of that, not as in an adult child. But then, that wasn't the main thing. There was a film, white film, covering the apical area, the lateral areas, the lobes, the superior, that's what catches you. We have it on camera, so you will see it. And so because of that,
So what's
in
this
both lungs,
lateral? Okay.
we took specimen. We were already suspecting.
Yeah.
So we took specimen
Right.
for histology. Histology study of tissues.
Yes.
Then when we got to the liver, we took specimen. Liver was kind of a line. We took specimen. Then we got to the kidneys. We took specimen. We got to the stomach. The stomach, we opened it, and then looked a bit reddish and looked a bit eroded, means just that the upper surface is a little, but some small area. But we still took, because you're not allowed to guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check.
Even though we had things on our minds.
Because of time, I wish I had brought you in
there.
earlier.
Yeah.
So, but I'm
I don't have time at all.
I'm wrapping up now.
So,
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
So I just had to give the scenario. So we took all that specimen from the stomach, and then finally, by the time the lab results came out, microbiology showed yes. It was a bacterial infection. Sepsis is usually caused by gram-positive bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria like Staphylococcus, Streptococcus, Klebsiella, Escherichia coli. So it was Streptococcus. It proved that it was gram-positive because some gram-negatives can, but most times it's gram-positive, and they give rise to toxins in the body. Endotoxins. So now. Why the sepsis? With that pus, when you have a pus in any part of the body, whether it's with diabetic sore that is a pus, or whether it's from a whitlow or whatever, the idea is you drain the pus, you incise, you drain, and then give antibiotics. And it's a life-threatening condition, so you give IV, intravenous antibiotics, against oral and IM, intramuscular. You give.
So that was done earlier.
I don't know. You don't know.